Today we're going to be working on a multi-purpose basket for spring. So we're going to make a basket that can just be a basket, and then we're going to add a few things to transform it if you want into a basket for Easter. And then when Easter's over, we can still use the basket all season long, and you can make it even match your home decor. So today the things that you will need to make this basket are dishy worsted weight yarn. We're going to be double stranding this. There's lots of colors on the We Crochet website. Each a ball is 190 yards and it's cotton, which means that it's going to give us some strength for a basket. It's not going to be as stretchy as other yarns that are not cotton. The cotton holds that strength a lot better. There's so many different colors on the website. Take a look. I do one basket with the main color being this swan ivory. And then I did polka dots in the pink and the purple. And then I did some solid colors that work well as well if you don't want to add some color to it for some more simplistic baskets. You'll also want a crochet hook. This is a 5.5 millimeter, so this is an eye hook. This is the dot series that's also on We Crochet. A yarn needle to weave in those ends and scissors to cut them. Now, if you're just making a basket, that would be all the supplies that you would need. If you want to have it be an Easter basket that can go Easter egg hunting, there's more supplies to transform that. This disc that you see underneath here, this wood piece of wood, you can get it at a craft store. It's great for reinforcing it and putting on the bottom if you're going to be lifting the basket a lot, say for collecting Easter eggs. So that's great to sit in the bottom. It's a 10-inch diameter. We have a tape measure, and that's to help us measure this 16 gauge wire. You can also try to use pipe cleaners if you have them around, and that's to create the cute little bunny ears so that they stand up. Then I have these buttons, and these buttons are great for attaching the handles we're going to do. That way they're detachable. You can add them and take them off. A button can go right through those granny stitches, as well as if you have pom-poms that have that elastic string, you can put that through the basket and right around these buttons. It makes it so quick and easy to attach those two for the back of the basket for a cute little bunny tail. I also decided to grab some of these bows. They're so cute. They're multi-purpose. I can use them in my hair if I wanted to, but also with these easy clips. It's an easy way to add a little bit of extra to a basket and make it really cute. Now you could use this for Easter or not. These will go right through those granny stitches. This is why I love granny stitches, and just sit on the edge of the basket. It looks really cute as an extra touch. If you are working with wire, I love this multi-purpose wire tool. I have this linked in the pattern. It's a great way to curve those ends, cut and clamp it all down so that you don't, get an injury from the wire, which is what we don't want. And then of course, stuffing Easter basket stuffing. If you are going to use it for Easter, you'll want to fill it with that Easter grass to finish it off. This is a really fun project. Like I said, multi-purpose. So let's just dive right in. Now to get started on these Easter baskets, we are going to use 2 strands together. So you can either do this from one ball where you're working the strand from each end of the ball, from the inside and the outside, or you can grab 2 of the balls and work those together, which is usually what I prefer to do, especially for this project, but either works. Now to get started, we are going to create a magic ring, or some people call it a magic circle, and then simply chain 1 to kind of lock that in. And now we're going to start working inside that magic ring. We're going to start with what's called a stacked single crochet. We're going to go into the magic ring, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And then we're going to go back through the left bar. Remember both strands, since these 2 strands are counting as one. They're not different strands, it's just one strand. Then we're going to go back through the left bar, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. And that completes our first stitch, which is a stacked single crochet, and it's wise to mark the top of the stitch. Now working into this magic ring, we are going to double crochet 9 more, which means we will have a total of 10 stitches inside the magic ring. Now that we have the 10 stitches worked inside this magic ring, we're going to grab that tail end and pull that ring closed. And we can tighten it later as we weave in our end. But for now, we're going to join to the first stitch in the round. So we'll move that stitch marker and join with a slip stitch. And now we're going to begin round 2. So for round 2, we're going to be working into the same stitch we joined, and we're going to work a stacked single crochet. You can mark the top of that if you want. And then we're going to double crochet into that same first space. Now we're going to work into the next stitch with 2 double crochets. And that will be our repeat around. We'll do 2 double crochets into each stitch around, and this will bring us to 20 stitches for round 2. Now at the end of round 2, we will join to the top of the first stitch, and now we will work round 3. I like to tighten down that join. We'll start with a stacked single crochet into the very first stitch, and then a double crochet into the same. And next we are going to double crochet into the next stitch. And now we will 2 double crochet into the next, and then do 1 double crochet into the next. So we're increasing on every other stitch for round 3. So 2 double crochets into the next, and then 1 double crochet, and we will repeat that all the way around, and at the end of round 3 we will have a total of 30 stitches. Now at the end of round 3 we will join to the top with a slip stitch, and now we're ready for round 4. Now each round is going to start with that stacked single crochet, and then a double crochet into the same. And then for round 4, we will double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So once again, the repeat for round 4 is going to be 2 double crochets in the next, and then double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So we're doing an increase again here, and at the end of round 4, we'll have a total of 40 stitches. At the end of round 4, we will join, and I think you can start to tell that there is a pattern going on here. And we're going to do round 5, and then I'm going to talk about round 6, 7, 8, and 9. So for round 5, we'll start in that very first stitch with a stacked single crochet, and then a double crochet into the same. And then we are going to double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So the repeat for round 5 will be 2 double crochets, and then we will double crochet into the next 3 stitches. And at the end of round 5, we will have 50 total stitches. Now let's talk about the rest of the rounds for the base of this basket, because I'm going to do those off camera since they are such simple repeats. For round 6, our repeat for the round will be to do 2 double crochets and then double crochet into the next 4. For round 7, our repeat will be 2 double crochets and then double crochet into the next 5. For round 8, it will be 2 double crochets and double crochet into the next 6. And when you get to round 9, the repeat will be 2 double crochets and double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches all the way around. And each round increases by 10. So at the end of round 9, you will have 90 stitches. Once I get to that point, I'll come on back. Now that we are at the end of round 9, we can go ahead and join to the first stitch of the round, and we're ready to start working up the body of the basket. Now it may curl a little bit right now, that will help even out with the next round, but you can also do a gentle blocking when we're done with this, or place a wooden circle in the bottom, which helps lay it flat. Sometimes things just naturally have some curl until we just block it out. Now for this next round, we are going to be turning our work. So we're going to turn our work from what we were working before. This is now the wrong side facing us. And we are going to be working in the front loop only. And that will give us a nice line to separate from the bottom base of the bag to the top. I just like having these clean lines. So instead of going through the entire stitch like we normally would, we're simply going to go through the front loop only, so the loop closest to us. We're going to insert our hook into the first stitch of the round, create a stacked single crochet, place a stitch marker if you need to, and then working in all the front loops, we're going to double crochet into each stitch around, and this will be round 1 of the body. At the end of round 1 for the body, we're going to join with the slip stitch and turn our work. Now I'm going to show this row 2 different ways, this round 2 different ways. The first way is going to be with a solid color, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do the polka dots. So we are going to start by working in this very first space. So this between the stitches below where our slip stitch to join was. We are going to insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through two. We're doing that stack single crochet, finishing that out. And then we're going to do two more single crochet, double crochet stitches in that space. Next, we're going to skip three. So there's three double crochets here, and we're going to work between the next two. So we're going to skip three double crochets and work between those next double crochet stitches and work three double crochets. And that will end up being our repeat all the way around. So we're going to look at the next three double crochets, and we're going to do three double crochets between those double crochet stitches. And this is starting that beautiful and easy granny stitch. So we'll work that all the way around till we get to the beginning of the round. Now I'm going to back this up a little bit because I want to talk about how to do color changes and polka dots. Now I'm going to bring in an alternate color, and you can make these polka dots any color you want. On one of the baskets, I did one round in pink, and then the next time I did a polka dot round, I did purple, and the next polka dot round, I did pink. So this is how we're going to work it. After we've worked our initial three double crochet stitches, on the very last stitch, we're going to finish that yarn over to finish out the stitch with our new color. That is a great way to do color changes. We're already set up to work our new color, and we finished off that last stitch. So now we're going to go to the next space, skipping those three double crochets, and work three double crochet stitches. But when we get to the last of these three stitches, we're going to stop before that last yarn over and pick up that brown yarn again, so our main color, and yarn over with our main color. And now we're ready to work with our main color for the next section of granny stitches. So then we'll work our three granny stitches into the next space. Stopping before we finish that last yarn over, and we're just going to simply bring up the yarn and yarn over with the next alternate color, and then skip three double crochets and work in the next space for three double crochets. So you're always placing the yarn you're not working to the back of your work, and then you're simply picking it up and working it again when it is time. Then when you work the next round, then on the next round will be a solid color round. When you are working your granny stitches, you'll want to be sure when you enter into the space, you're entering underneath all of these flows. So underneath all of these strands, and that will help especially pin them into place to be less of a carry across there and barely noticeable. And that's how you will work the polka dot rounds. They're really fun to do. They're really, really cute. And I just want to show you really quick on this basket. This is how it ends up turning out. And on the inside, those are nice carries. It's really simple to do, and it's fun to add those nice polka dots. Now at the end of round two, we will join, skipping the last stitches of the round, and we're going to join to the first, leaving those last three double crochets there. And we have created rounds of granny stitches, which will make this next round easier, and it's going to be our repeat. So we're just going to repeat what we did, but working in all the spaces. So I've turned my work, and we're going to do a stack single crochet into the very first space. And then three double crochets into the next space. And we will work that all the way around and join. And we will do this till we have a total of 7 rounds for the body. If you're working the polka dot rounds, I did those on rounds 2, 4, and 6 to do, and I would do solid rounds in between. And so we're going to work this up in that beautiful granny stitch, turning at the end of each round until we have 7 rounds of the granny stitch, and then we'll come back for the top trim. Now that we have worked 7 rounds and we have joined, we're ready for the last round, which is round 8. We're going to turn our work, and this round we're going to add a really pretty scalloped edge to this to finish it off. So we will start in this very first space, and we are going to do a stacked single crochet as our very first stitch. And then into the same space, we are going to double crochet 4 more. So we'll have 5 total stitches in this first space. Then in the next space, we will single crochet. And then in the next space, 5 double crochets, and this is the start of our repeat around. So we'll work 5 double crochets. And then in the next space, we will single crochet. And we're going to work that all the way around, doing 5 double crochets in one space, 1 single crochet in the next, until we get to the end of the round. Now that we've worked all the way around, we're going to go ahead and fasten off. And I want to show you how to do what's called an invisible join. It's my favorite way to join at the end of a round and make it as least noticeable as possible. So you'll want to grab your yarn needle and you'll take both strands and thread that through your yarn needle. And now we're ready to do this invisible join. Now to do this, we're going to look at the second stitch in the round. So we have our first stitch here and we're going to go through the second stitch as if to crochet it and pull that thread through. And now we're going to go to the last stitch we worked and go straight down the center of that last stitch that we worked and pull that down. And now this is going to create a mock stitch on top. Just kind of pull it gently until it looks just right. And now we haven't added any stitches, but we've created a mock stitch that does a nice join and is, you can't really tell where we started or stopped there. Now we're just going to go ahead and weave in our end. Now to work the ears, we're still going to be working double strands, but we'll want to grab some wire. I like this 16 gauge wire. It has enough flexibility yet strength for these ears. And this is where you'll want to measure out approximately 16 inches. So just grab your tape measure, measure approximately 16 inches, and then we'll cut it. And that's what these wire cutters come in handy for, is to cut that wire. The other thing is this rounded part of the wire cutter, we can go ahead and fold over those ends so that we don't have any sharp pieces that will stick out. We're simply just going to fold those right around the end of that. This has a great space here where you can put the wire in between the marks on each side, and that will help clamp it down. So then you'll hold it there and clamp it down as tight as you can, pressing it down on all sides. We're going to make sure that we don't have any sharp ends. We don't want to hurt ourselves as we're working this next part either. So once we have that, we'll be ready to work our yarn around the wire. Now to get started with these ears, I'm going to use an alternate color for the first part of the ear, and then I will use the main color for the outside. So you can do these in solid colors if you want. I'm just going to start with an ivory for the inner part of the ear. I'm going to take my yarn and create a slip knot. Once again, we are double stranding this yarn, and then grab my wire. Now, if this next part is just frustrating to work around the wire because it can be a little bit fickly, you can create a foundation single crochet row for 31 stitches and weave the wire through those stitches. So we're going to start, and I'm going to pretend like my wire is a stitch essentially, and I'm holding my yarn up here, and I'm going to take my hook, go underneath the wire, grab my yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all the loops on the hook, and that creates our first single crochet stitch. Now for the next stitch, I'm going to go back through the left bar of that previous stitch, going under the wire so I can bring my yarn around. I'm going to grab a loop and pull through that bar, and then with my yarn behind the wire, yarn over and pull through two. So that's going through the left bar, under the wire, grabbing the yarn, pulling it up. Sometimes your yarn will flip around, and then going through that left bar, and then with the yarn behind the wire, yarning over and pulling through two. Now, with some practice, I've got decently fast at this. Sometimes if I hold it vertical and I go and I'm holding my yarn here, I'll go over, working the hook over the wire through the left bar, and then the yarn is going to come from behind and under and through, and then I'm going to grab the yarn from the back and pull it through two. So through the bar, grabbing the yarn, and then grabbing the yarn. So each time just making sure that we are working around that wire for the stitches so that the wire is getting worked into those stitches. But if you would rather do a foundation single crochet row and then you can weave the wire through later, that is totally fine. I'm going to work this until I have 31 stitches. Now on the very last stitch, I have stopped on my last yarn over and I'm going to go with my main color and yarn over and pull through to complete that last stitch. And that way we're set up with the next color. You can fasten off your alternate color, so the inner color of the ear. Now we're going to turn our work. We're still going to be working in rows here. And we're going to go into that very first stitch with a stacked single crochet. Pull down my ends a little. And then we're going to work in that same stitch with a double crochet. And now we're going to be working the granny stitch across the rest of this cute little bunny ear. So we're going to skip 2 and 3 double crochet into the next. And then we're going to do that all the way across until we get to the very last 3 stitches of this row. So skip 2 and 3 double crochet into the next. And now that we are to the last 3 stitches, we're simply going to double crochet into that last stitch, and then we can go ahead and fasten off our main color. Now you can weave in all these ends if you want these ears to be detachable, but if you don't, you can go ahead and leave the main color ends so that we can weave those onto the basket. And then you'll simply take your ears and fold them over, shape them a little bit how you want. Then we have a cute little bunny ear, and then you'll go ahead and make a second one. Now, one of the accessories we will want to make is a handle, and I just made a simple strap using the granny stitch and some buttons to attach it to the sides of the basket. That way it can come on and off, but when you're ready to do some Easter egg hunting, you'll have a handle to carry the basket around. So let's get started on making that. We are going to create a slip knot and place that onto our hook. And then we are going to chain 65 chains. If you want this basket to be a little bit longer, you can make it longer by adding in multiples of 3. So I'm going to chain 65. Now to make this handle look even in stitching on the left and the right side, for the very first row, I did some slip stitching. So in the second chain from the hook, and I do like to work on those bottom humps, we are going to slip stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch in each remaining chain across. This means at the end of this row, we will have a total of 64 slip stitches. So we'll work those all the way across. Now we're going to turn and do row 2 of the basket handle. So we're going to be doing a stacked single crochet right into this very first stitch. And then we are going to double crochet into the same stitch. And then we're going to skip 2. And then this starts our repeat. We're going to double crochet 3. And then we will skip 2. And we'll start that repeat again. Double crochet 3. And skip 2. And we're going to work that all the way until we get to the last stitch of this row. And now with the last stitch of this row, we are going to work a double crochet. And then we'll turn our work and chain 1. That does not count as a stitch. And the next thing we'll do is slip stitch into each stitch across to even out that look on each edge of the strap. So you'll be slip stitching all the way across. Now we did our first row with 64 stitches, but row 2 and row 3 end up with 63 stitches. It all works out and looks great. However, it's just the way that the granny stitches worked out, but that will still give us straight edges. Now, at the end of your slip stitch row, we're going to go ahead and grab your scissors, fasten off that yarn, leaving a tail end because we will want to attach buttons. Now, on this side, we already have strands here to use to attach buttons. On the other side, we'll want to weave in a strand of yarn and to attach it and then add a button. So on this side, I'm going to grab my yarn needle, and I love these quick buttons. They're pom-pom buttons. They work great for pom-poms, but they also work well for just adding any style of button that you're going to be using on something like this. Now the edges of these are, I wouldn't use these on garments per se, other than with pom-poms, but for something like this, it's perfect. So I'm just going to weave my end until I get to the center bottom area of this strap. And then I'm going to place this here. I like these because they're so fast and easy. Sometimes with some buttons, I have to have a smaller needle in order to get the yarn through. So this is a great button to use, especially when we're double stranding it, because it's really easy just to tighten down around that button. And then I'll go do it again. Come up the center, go around that button, and you want to go right back down the center so that it pulls it tight around this button. And then we will weave in those ends, and we'll have this to attach through the granny stitches on the basket. Now comes for the fun transformation. This basket is so cute just as is if you want to use it just like this as a basket. For a stronger reinforcement, go ahead and put that wooden circle in. It's really nice, even just as a basket, to have that bottom that is flat and straight. Next, we'll want to grab our tail and a button, and we can go ahead and attach this by, if you have a smaller crochet hook, grab it now, but we'll go through the button. If you don't want to go through the button, you can just pull the strand through and put it over the entire button. And you're going to go to the back of the basket where you want the tail to kind of sit, and you're going to pull it through the button. And then we're just going to loop around each of those slats, looping that strand around to put it into place, just like so. So this tail is cute, it's there, it's fun for Easter, but it's also detachable. You'll just simply take that strand off of there when you don't want it for Easter. And then on the front of the basket, if you want to put on a ribbon, I love this ribbon, you can simply slide it through those granny stitches and let it just clip on the front. And that is so cute and so easy to do. And then once again, it's detachable for when you don't want a ribbon, although I think a ribbon could be cute all year round. And then at this point, we can fill our basket. This stuffing will help shape the edges where there's a little bit more weight on it. You can just shove it around in there, making it super cute for Easter. Now to attach the handles, we're simply going to take our button, and you can go from the inside out or the outside in. It's completely up to you, but you're just going to go through one of the granny stitches on one side, sliding that button through that granny stitch and letting it sit, and then go directly across to the other side and do the same. You're just going to take that button and slide it through a space. And now this is usable as an Easter basket with that handle. You can lift it up, put it down. It works great. And then last but not least, just adding a cute final touch is the ears. Now these I've made detachable. If you want to attach the ears, you can sew them onto the front of the basket by those tail ends. I've woven in all my tail ends because I'm simply going to take them and push them into that grass all the way to the bottom, and you can kind of move your grass around those ears, and then they'll sit really cute. I'll try to tip this here onto the front of the basket, and then you can put them in and out as you want. They can sit there during an Easter egg hunt, and then you can always take them out later to turn it back into a basket for everyday use, which is why I like these detachable ears. And the Easter egg, the Easter stuffing really helps them stay in place on the front of the basket. I really hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. I've made a few of these now. I made one in that teal, and then of course that polka dot pink, purple, and ivory. They're really, really cute to use for an Easter egg hunt, but then and home decor as well. But then when you're ready to store it, you can take it apart. You can use the basket all year long. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back for some more fun projects soon.